Welcome, everybody, to day six of Refining the Mind Women's Conference 2021. And I am hyped. It is Saturday, and it's just a good day. I decided to put on my Refining Life gear. You know, my Dr. Renita, founder, event producer. Hold on the back. Got my Refining Life. I like my gear. I do, but I just wanted to say welcome to the 6th day of conference. This year is our seventh Refining the Mind, And this year we are doing it for 7 days, and this is day 6. So if you missed the first 5 days of conference, know that they're still available on Facebook as well as YouTube. So catch them, check them out. It's been fabulous. And today will be no exception. So for those of y'all who don't know me, I'm Dr. Renita, founder and visionary of The Refining Life. And The Refining Life is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide you with experiences to have your mindset shifted so that you can lead a more positive and productive life. So welcome to everybody who's new to The Refining Life. Welcome back to all of our Refining the Mind alum, everyone who's watched Mirror Image and has watched the Sunday Shift this year. Welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. Hello. I just want to get you started with here, day 6. Day 6, we have Yolanda Mukombe. And she's about to bring us the financial everything. Just be ye also ready. Just be ready. I already know. So I'm going to shoot you over to Yolanda right now. Just have your pen and paper. If you don't have your pen and paper, you got like a piece of a second. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that should have been enough time. If it's not, you know what you were sitting down for. And if you didn't, you got a few more seconds while I'm still talking. So go for it. But I'm getting ready to bring Yolanda Mukombe to you. Just be ready for excellence. And your mind is gonna be blown, shifted, and all the good stuff. See you later.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Dr. Renita, for your leadership, for being a visionary. And we are so excited for year 7, day 6 of the Refining the Mind Women's Conference. Thank you so much all for joining. I am Yolanda Mukombe. I am a financial professional. I have been in the industry for over 8 years. I recently pivoted out of working for a financial institution, and I now work with an investment firm out of Raleigh, the Cary area in North Carolina. I am an economic development. I am all about getting people educated and empowered so that they can actually live a truly life that is thriving. And that really starts for me with your finances. So today I'm going to talk about the cost of being done. And that is we're going to talk about how to make impactful financial decisions that your future self will thank you for. And your future self is just as important as yourself that you're looking at today. I want you to get a mirror and just take a selfie, look at yourself and look at who you are today. And I want you to think about who you're going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road, and go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back for the decisions you're going to make today and the refining of the mind that you're going to do today so that your future self will thank you. So I'm going to talk about how to make impactful decisions your future self will thank you for. One thing that I want to start off with is you never know how prepared you are financially until a test comes. And I promise you, you do not want to figure out at that time that you have not prepared financially the way that you should. And unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves experiencing financial trauma because they either did not prepare for 2 reasons. They didn't know better or they didn't do better. Either way, today, I'm giving you the opportunity to get your stuff in order so that you can prepare for your future self. We're going to talk about a lot of different things financially so that you don't get caught slipping. And it is now September. It's the 9th month of the year. And so I want to start off by asking you, have you actually set any financial goals for the year? Did you set any financial goals for the year of 2021? I know a lot of people had an influx of cash flow, which was awesome, from stimulus monies or from maybe getting raises or starting different jobs. No matter how you may have experienced a cash flow, did you have a plan for that money? And if so, what were your goals? I would love to see in the comments about what some of your goals might have been. Um, a lot of things differently from this year. We, of course, went through a event produced recession, which is COVID. And one of the things that people have done differently this time around with the recession that they didn't do before was save some money and pay down debt. Oh my gosh. I hope that was you, because it's such a great opportunity to really start to shift your financial picture so that, again, your future self will thank you. So, did you actually save money and pay off debt? If not, let's talk about it. So, I want to give you some actionable things to be able to, number one, save money. So we'll start with SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So if you do not have an emergency fund right now with at least $1,000 in it, then that's going to be the first step in what I need you to do after today. And the way you're going to do that is be specific. So specifically, you're going to save $1,000 so that you can have an emergency fund. You'd be surprised at the number of people in the United States, the richest country in the world, who don't have $400 to be able to cover an emergency expense. They do not have $400 to be able to cover an emergency expense. And I think that number is pretty high, like over 60%, to no fault of their own. But this is a great time to start to change the narrative. So your specific part of your SMART goals is going to be you're saving $1,000. The measurable part is when you get to saving $1,000, you're going to know that you reached your goal, right? And we're going to try to do that within 1 year. 1 year. So if you can save it sooner than a year, that's great. If you can save more than $1,000 in a year, just put whatever number that you want to put, right? But we're starting with $1,000 for anybody who is just starting today. So that's going to be the measurable. When you get to $1,000 or when you get to that number that you're setting right now, because I know you got your pen and your paper and you're writing this down, then that is going to be how you know you've reached your goal. Then it's going to be the question of, is it attainable? So is $1,000 over a year span attainable for you to actually save? I would think yes, but I'm not counting your pockets, right? However, over 12 months, $1,000 is roughly $83, $84 per month to save. And I think you can find $83 to save. If you have to go and sell some old stuff in your closet, go to Plato's Closet, go to the children's place and sell some stuff, have a yard sale. Those are different ways that you can expedite saving that money if you are cash tight right now. Are your goals realistic? So I would say that saving $1,000 in a year is actually pretty realistic. It gives you a pretty decent time frame to actually, move it up a couple months or even, move it back a couple months. So instead of it being 12 months, maybe you need 14 months. But is it a realistic goal that you're setting? So the reason I didn't come up here and say save $10,000 in a year, right, is because I want to be realistic and I want you to know that it is okay to be realistic and not have to blow your mind in thinking that you have to go and save this astronomical amount of money. And the last thing in the SMART goals is it time bound? Yes. So we said 12 months, right? So we're giving each other 12 months to establish an emergency fund. And that is the way that you can get started with making sure that your future self thanks you. Because imagine having a tire blowout, or imagine having to get a repair done on your car. Imagine having an expense come up, a medical expense come up, or something for your child that comes up if you have children. Imagine, having to be out of work for a little while, and imagine the flexibility that you'll give yourself in knowing that you have that $1,000 saved up and you can just pull from that money in the case that there's an emergency that comes up. So that's your first step. If you did set financial goals in 2021, have you been sticking to those goals? So that's another question. I know a lot of people each January 1st, they set these astronomical goals where they say, I want to save $10,000 in 6 months. Great. Have you stuck to that goal? And if not, I want you to ask yourself why. It's very important that you think about the long-term effects of the decisions that you make today regarding your finances. And it is okay if you fell off somehow. Just get back on the horse and ride. And know that this journey, it's not something that starts and ends in just a short amount of time. You have your whole entire life ahead of you to get this right. But it's those actions that you put in place today that will make a difference for you financially in the long run. Do you need to give yourself a raise? So one thing that people don't think about is taxes and how taxes actually affect your household each year. You can actually give yourself a raise in your paycheck by adjusting your withholdings. Now, I would suggest that you consult a tax advisor about this. But if you're getting a huge refund back each year, then you probably want to think about not giving the government so much of your money up front and not letting them have an interest-free loan and so that you get a refund back, and actually using that money throughout the year to get to your savings goals sooner. It is now September. You have a little bit of time to actually change your withholdings. If you've had to pay the government in the past, then now is also a good time to review your withholdings to see if you actually, can change your withholdings now to take a little bit more out of your paycheck over the next 3 months so that you're not having to worry about owing the IRS a huge tax bill come 2022. Definitely talk to a tax advisor or a tax professional about it. These are just simple suggestions so that your financial situation can be fine-tuned and really more efficient for you. But those are some things that I want you to think about. Do you have a budget? So one of the things that people talk about all the time is a budget and a spending plan. But what are you doing with that budget? Are you actually allocating all of your things, every single penny, or, you just writing it down and then, coming to it every 3 months? Do you have a budget and are you sticking to it? And if you do have a budget, how easy are you making it on yourself to be able to have a good financial picture for yourself right now? So do you go in each month and manually pay your bills, hoping that you don't forget about bills, or do you have things on automation? One thing about saving money and planning for the future is you should also be a bill. So when I talked about how you can establish a savings really quickly, a great way to do that so that you are not putting yourself in a situation where you are hoping and wishing that it happens is by putting those things on electronic funds transfer or ACH, but where it automatically comes out and it's something that you don't have to think about. It comes out just like a bill and you're just paying yourself. And speaking of paying yourself, are you actually paying yourself? Are you skimming off the top, or are you spending all your money on your bills and then Amazon? Because I know you've been ordering stuff on Amazon. It's all right, but are you paying yourself? And if you're not, then you need to go back and reevaluate, because there is no reason why you should be working every single day, going to work, doing all this hard work, getting a paycheck, and not being able to enjoy the paycheck. There is no reason for that. So are you paying yourself? Okay. If you're not, we need to talk so that we can figure out how you can pay yourself and still have a good financial picture in front of you. Another thing is, if you were saving, have you increased your savings, or have you been dipping into your savings account? I know things happen, but have those things been actual emergencies, or has it been a situation where you're just pulling from the money because you have it, and you're putting yourself in a situation where you're taking from your future self, right? And speaking of your future self, don't know how old you are, but one day you're going to retire, right? Are you investing at all in your retirement that either your job is offering or individual retirement account through a different type of broker? So it's very important that you think about it. They just released a couple weeks ago that they are not expecting Social Security to last any more than the next 7 years. And if you're not retiring in the next 7 years, then you have to come up with another source of income for retirement. I don't think that they will let it empty out, but just in case they do, it's your responsibility to make sure that your retirement is straight. And we don't want you having to worry about living in a box or having to completely change your lifestyle because you can't afford to retire. And we don't want you working until you're 85 either, right? So are you actually contributing to your retirement plans? If you don't have retirement plans through your job, you could always contribute to what's called a Roth IRA, which is a tax-free account or a tax-deferred account. If you leave the money in there for 5 years, you actually don't have to pay taxes on the capital gains, and the money that you put in there has already been taxed. So that's a great opportunity for you to start your savings journey for your retirement. Even if you do have a 401k with your job, a Roth IRA is still a great opportunity for you to put even more money towards your retirement because the day is coming. And you also want to think about money that you want to leave to those behind you. So if you have a spouse, you want to make sure that you can leave them a little something. If you have children, you definitely want to make sure that you can leave them a little something. So having that Roth IRA in place will keep your taxes down. Once you go to start withdrawing the money in retirement, as long as you leave it in there for 5 years, and then it will help to create a legacy for those who you love. And we're all about legacy here. We want to make sure that you don't think just about yourself, but you're thinking about those who are coming behind you and those other generations that you are responsible for. You can also do a traditional IRA. So depending on what your tax situation looks like, you can actually contribute to a traditional IRA and be able to get some type of tax benefit from that, depending on what your tax situation looks like. Again, I would consult a tax advisor just so that they can be familiar with your specific situation. But traditional IRA, you can get a tax credit back from the government if you're contributing to a traditional IRA. So you can have both. There are different ways about going to do this when you are thinking about retirement. You can only put a certain amount in there. The contribution limits change from year to year. I believe it's $6,000 for 2021 and $7,000 if you are over 50. They have it what's called a catch-up provision, where you can add just a little bit more money if you're over 50 so that you can catch up for your retirement. But it's a great opportunity to make sure that you start to save money. If you do have a 401k, make sure you're talking to people, whoever your provider is, about maximizing your opportunity for growth, talking about, your risk tolerance so that you can have that money meet you down the road when you are getting ready to retire, because the whole purpose of saving for retirement is so that it can sustain your lifestyle when you are no longer bringing in a job wages when you get to the point where you are done working. And I know, some people want to retire at 30, some people want to retire at 45, some people want to retire at 55, and that's perfectly great. But are you doing the things that you need to do today to be able to meet that financial goal, right? When you are thinking about having children, if you have children already, if you don't have children, if you have godchildren, nieces and nephews, any type of child in your life that you want to plan for financially, you can do that as well. There are several different accounts that you can open for a minor. A minor is someone who's under 18. And you could also open up investment accounts for those people. So you can do a uniform transfer minor account, which is an account that is the child's account, but they don't have access to it until you give them access, and you can serve as a custodian of that account. And the custodian is the person who controls the money, right? So you can open up that type of account, UTMA. You could also open up what's called a 529 college account. That account is usually going to be invested, and you can go to your specific state to see if they offer 529s. It's a great way to save if you want to provide an opportunity for your child to go to college and have some money already there. I will have a shameless plug. This is not investment advice, but I started my son's 529 in, I want to say 2019, shortly after he turned 1. And that thing has grown 34% over the last 2 years. Now, if it continues to grow 34%, which, of course, you have to be very cautious with these dippers. But if it continues to grow like that over the next 17 years, that baby will have $50,000 in his account if we never put anything else in there, right? So it's the little things that make a huge difference when you're thinking about the long term. Those small things that you put into play today for your child and your children can really impact the decisions that they have to make when they get older. So hopefully when my child gets to the point where he's thinking about college, he will have scholarships that pay for college. But in the case that there's some type of gap, there's a 529 in place for him that we've established now, where he can actually, it'll grow over time and it can fill the gap if need be. Before I end, I really want to talk about life insurance. And I really, really, really want you to listen. Life insurance is extremely important, and it's a very important way to pass on inheritance, but also to keep your family members from experiencing financial trauma. And this is the second time that I've used that word. So let me explain what I mean by financial trauma. Financial trauma is any adverse financial experience that you go through that causes some type of disruption to your income, that causes stress, that causes anxiety, which I know you've experienced financial trauma. You don't have to tell me. That's what happens. And so if you are not planning in the ways that we're talking about in this moment, then not only are you experiencing financial trauma, not only are you putting yourself in a situation to be vulnerable to experiencing financial trauma, but you're also putting those that you love at risk for experiencing financial trauma. And let's be honest, we don't want those that we love to go through financial trauma because we failed to plan. That is not what we do here at the Refining the Minds Women's Conference. That's not what we're going to do. But let's talk about life insurance. You can have several different types of life insurance, but the main two are a whole life insurance policy and a term life insurance policy. So whole life insurance is purely life insurance. It's permanent life insurance. So today when you get insured, the premium is going to be a little bit higher because it literally protects you for your entire life from the time you get insured to the time you pass away, right? Term life insurance, on the other hand, protects you for a certain amount of time. So you can get a term life insurance today, which will be cheaper, and you can get a term life insurance policy for 30 years to cover your life for 30 years. If you happen to outlive that policy, then great, right? But if you happen to pass away within that time frame, you've created money to funnel through to your beneficiaries, to your heirs. And even though we might not see that as our responsibility, it actually is our responsibility. So we need to make sure we have sufficient life insurance. You also need to get life insurance on your children. Things happen. Like I said in the beginning, you do not know how prepared you are until a test comes. And though we don't want to think about these morbid topics, it's very important that you have life insurance on your children because something could happen. And God forbid it does. And we pray a hedge of protection over you and your families. But just to make sure that you are prepared, you cover your house, you cover your car, you put insurance on your phone. why would you not put insurance on your life? I'll leave that question for you to answer, but I implore you to do so. Finally, I encourage you to do an estate plan. And a lot of the things I've actually talked about are a part of your estate plan, but get an estate plan done. That also is a way to protect your assets when you're no longer here. It also protects you, so that you put people in place who are able to help you if you need help, like financially or healthcare power of attorney. You can put those things in place so that people can actually make decisions for you. Trusted people can make decisions for you, but it's important that you put those things into play. Why? Because life can happen and you just don't know. So instead of going down every night praying and hoping that something doesn't happen to you before you can get these things into play, I really encourage you to actually get these things into existence. Get it done. This conference is all about it already being done. And if you've already done it, great. I'm so proud of you. But if there are any of these points that we discussed today that are lacking, I really, really encourage you to go and talk to a financial professional who can help you put these things in play. Because let's be honest, we only have but so much control. And why not actually do those things that we have control over and be proactive versus waiting until an emergency comes or waiting until a test comes to put us under the fire to figure out, put us into survival mode and trying to figure out how to actually go back and undo some of the planning that we should have gotten done in the past, right? And really, after today, you have enough information where you can call a financial professional and you can actually get information that you need to be able to put certain things in play. Trust me when I tell you, the conversation, once you have it, you will sleep better at night because you will know that if anything was to happen to you, your family is covered, you're covered, your assets are covered, and you don't have to lay your head on that pillow at night hoping that that's not your last breath, because that is not what we're going to do. So these are some ways that you can make impactful decisions that your future self will thank you for. I am so grateful that you joined in today. I'm so grateful that you were able to watch, day 1 through 5 and now day 6 of the conference, the year 7 Refining the Minds Women's Conference. You guys, listen, if you don't hear me say anything else, I want you to remember that it is already done. So keep faith, stay encouraged, keep people around you who are going to empower you to walk this journey, and trust that you are going to experience a level of favor and a level of joy that you have not experienced before. It's on its way, y'all. I'm telling you. So I hope this conference has been everything that you have hoped for, plus some more. Please, please, please make sure if you have to go back and watch this, you go back and you take notes, because there are some amazing financial tips that I talked about. Especially those SMART goals, and you can apply that to any part of your SMART goals. You can apply that to your debt, your savings. You can apply that in so many different ways. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us for year 7, day 6, the cost of being done, and you're going to make those good decisions to impact your financial future. Have a wonderful day.
Are you done? Are you done?
Oh.
Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Are you ready for your future self to thank you for these things? Thank you, Yolanda. Oh my goodness. Whew. I feel like I need to talk to my past self in order to get my future self together right now. My. Yolanda, you are amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for dropping all of that on us, helping us get our financial life together, helping us refine our financial mind. We're going to be amazing if we just listen to the people who give us the good stuff. And Yolanda Mukombe is one of those. So, I hope you enjoy it. I know you saw the banner down below. We're raising money this week. That's what we're doing. As you know, that you got to see this amazing session for free. And this year for Refining the Mind Women's Conference, our hope is to raise at least $3,000. If we go above and beyond, that's always amazing. But we are planning already for year 8 of Refining the Mind Women's Conference. We know it can be fabulous, but we also know financially we got to get it there. Hopefully we'll be able to do some things, at least some things in person, if not everything. But of course, there'll be a virtual option. That is now the life that we live. So help us fundraise. We're right here. Boom, 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 boom. PayPal and Cash App. And if you have a big amount you want to give, like we're talking about over $1,000, which we thank you, email me at light@therefininglife.com, LIGHT @therefininglife.com, and I'll tell you where you can mail your donation, because we don't want to fool and lose a whole bunch of money due to those fees. You know, fees are real. But we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which means your donations are tax deductible. We thank you so much for being with us again today, or for the first time today. But here's the deal. Every single day, I'm asking everybody to invite at least one more person to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. It's Sunday. And we'll have another amazing speaker. Just be ready for tomorrow. My goodness. I know your mind is probably like, from the past 6 days, but just wait. Just be ready for day 7. It's going to be amazing. But bring a friend with you. Bring 52 friends with you. Whatever you feel, just bring them. I love you so much. Thank you for joining us today. And always, always, always keep your mind refined. See you tomorrow at 5. Bye, guys.